All right. So we got a race night in CT Rando once again. Seed of the week number 3. Today we got Carnoth, Phone, Pseudo-Arc, and Ravenous Shark. What kind of settings we got here? We got ultimate gears and ultimate gear locations from vanilla. So like your rainbows, your wonder shots, all that stuff. Any place you would get those in the vanilla game, you'll get some good gear. Non-check dungeons, like Magus's Castle, Tyrano Lair, Zeo Palace. Things like that. They've all got some ultimate gear in them. The Yakra box, we set it to where there's no character there. You just, if you get a Yakra key, you go there, you get a piece of ultimate gear. Hunting range new. Normally like the third eye item. If you kill him, he'll give you something. Vanilla attack elements, pretty self-explanatory. MP type order, pretty standard. We just have a ascending order of power on our damage and healing techs. The utility stuff will be in the same slot it always is. If they got more than one of those, they'll be shuffled around. Rock shuffle. So any rock you find is going to be in a vanilla rock spot. What rock that is shuffled. So you could find the gold in the silver rock spot. If you watch week 3, it's kind of the same thing. Vanilla loot pool, charms and tabs. Essentially, there's no extra of any one item. It's just pulling straight from the vanilla game. So you get like one rainbow, one wonder shot, one prism specs. Whatever amount of consumables are in the game as well. That also means there's 3 prism helms in the chest, prism dress, things of that nature. We take some liberties with some of the stuff like Dragon Tier, Valor Crest, accessories that didn't exist in the vanilla game. They're in there as well. Tech levels. Usually they just take the place of like a tonic or something. Unshuffled gates, epoch start. So it's fairly standard. You're not really going to be surprised where like dungeons and stuff are. You're not going to be surprised where gates are. You can freely travel through time as long as you've got whatever it is unlocked. We made Bridge a key item check. Guaranteed front of Cathedral recruit, Atropos and Genodome. So let's jump into it. For the Bridge key item, you have no idea, what it is. You can't peek it. So unlike with the jerky trade, it'll be a little bit of a surprise. Use your jerky wisely, if it even comes up. So we got Carnoth, most famous live streamer we've got. Runs them all the time, especially Friday, Saturday, Sundays. Catch him on YouTube, catch him on Twitch. Twitch is Carnoth8811, I believe. YouTube is just Carnoth. Phone right here. You can find him right here. Plays a lot. Always around to answer questions and whatnot. Pseudo-Arc, of course, the developer. A highly skilled player. Don't sleep on him. He knows the ins and outs better than anybody. Ravenous Shark, kind of a wild card. He plays. We don't really get to see him do it much. He likes to do silly stuff like Hard Lavos, Dream Devourer. He's kind of known to do his own thing. He likes a challenge. We'll see what he does with it. So I've got the audio set to Pseudo-Arc, mostly because the other 3 are just talking and talking and talking through their run. So just for the integrity of the audio, we'll have it on Pseudo. He always starts his video right when the run starts. That's why you're not hearing any sound. But we're gonna kick this off in about 2 seconds. So we see Luca, we'll just see what we do with it. So seeing a little bit of palette variety. Phone, of course, has the custom Luca sprite that he found on the internet. He didn't make it. He did patch it in though. Carnoth, my understanding was he used the palette maker program and just hit the random button over and over until he got something he liked. So we'll see some interesting colors there. Pseudo, he goes pretty vanilla, but his Magus should be colored at least. We see a Star Sword in the opening check here. Got a Mega as well. Mesomail? Mesomail? I don't know. Shops, we see some good consumables. Shelter, Power Meal, Revives. Looks like Luca's best tech is Flare, second best tech is Flame Toss. So we may do something with that, we may not. Pseudo kind of checking his shops, seeing what kind of weapons he's got. Looks like one of Luca's weapons has speed +1. It's the weaker one, but speed +1 on a 6-speed character is very good. On Carnoth's screen, we see Luca for recruit at the fair. In order to get her, you have to find a Dreamstone. We, of course, see Crawley at the Gato spot. Not really something you have a lot of incentive to fight. So we also got a Masamune. It's not lighting up on Carnoth's tracker for some reason, but maybe he'll fix it. So with the Masamune, of course, if we get Frog, we can go through Magus's Castle. With Magus's Castle, we can get to 12,000, which is most of the time pretty crucial for getting through the seed. It unlocks all kinds of stuff. Ocean Palace, Last Village, Flight. There's no guarantee that you're gonna need any of that. Just depending on, how things roll. You could just find 4 objectives, go to the end of time that way. Get like the gate key or something, go through Protodome. Fight Lavos, no 12,000, no flight, nothing. But statistically speaking, you're probably going to 12,000 at some point. You're probably getting flight. We see a gate key peak at the Jerky Trade. It's a good item. We may not need it for anything. Maybe our runners end up just doing bridge instead if they find Jerky for the gamble. Snail Stop, we got the C trigger. So we don't start with 10,000 gold, but we can certainly make it if we sell some stuff. I see a Shiva Edge with speed +3 and 20 MP crit 4 times on Pseudo's screen at the shop there. Very good. So, we got some options here. Phone is going into the burrow. He's got his Masamune. We'll see if there's a character there. And we see a new. We don't fight the new because we're kind of low level right now. No damage. Dreambow in the chest for Phone there. So we got a Frog. So we could go straight to Magus's Castle if we want to. Looking at the objectives, we could do Mount Woe coming out of Magus's Castle. We could do Beast Cave. That'd put us at 2. In our settings today, we need 3 objectives to unlock the Last Village and get flight. Of course, Ocean Palace, sorry. Ocean Palace is another path to flight. Getting the Jets of Time, if you're lucky. You don't need any of that, but most of the time, you're looking for those 2-3 objectives. So Frog is in the lead for Phone. So any character that Phone recruits is going to match Frog's level and tech level. So we may see some recruits here. Just get like a level 18 party going. Pseudo following right behind Phone. So back to the Magus's Castle. It's on the table. It is a fairly long dungeon. If you can find Magus, it saves like 5 minutes getting through it. But also we need to see that Tyranno Lair is an objective. And Ayla, she's at the fair. If we get Dreamstone, we can go straight there. We need Dactyl, which requires Dreamstone to unlock. We need Ayla. And Dreamstone also gives us Ayla when she's at the fair, so You know, one key item shy of getting the Tyranno lair, 12,000 objectives. It's hard to pass up. We may see a Magus' Castle play anyway. Especially if we can find a Magus. So everybody's kind of got the same idea. You know, they're gonna get this frog level 18. Maybe go Cathedral. A lot of octopods in the Cursed Woods. It's a scary enemy to fight. They're pretty strong. So phone first to the Cathedral. Pseudo maybe getting some tabs and shelters. So we see debuggers, fairly annoying enemy. They attack pretty fast. We'll see if we can get through them. Karnoth also putting Frog in the front. So I didn't point this out, but we get a rainbow shell from Frog's chest as well. As long as there's not a character standing in front of it, you can open it. Phone gets through this fight. He's got a character recruit, it looks like. If they didn't do this animation, there would not be a character. So we get a Chrono. That Shiva Edge at that shop looking really good right now. If anybody can afford it. It may take some looting to get there. Pseudo checking through the castle first, maybe seeing if he wants to do Back of Cathedral. You can, of course, peek the Queen character. If there's no character there, then Back of Cathedral does not award a character. So he may be contemplating, like, you know, doing Front of Cathedral, doing Bromide dipping. Phone looks like he's going straight to the back. He's got this famous play where he kills the boss first and he comes back to the cathedral after to loot. Essentially, the reason you would do that is, you know, you're confident you can kill the boss. Maybe you don't feel like you need the loot to get through it. If you can come back afterwards, there's no enemies in the way, no dialogues to get through. You can just loot the whole thing, even the bromide, and just walk right out. Karnoth getting into the cathedral as well. Pseudo, unlike the others, he knows that, you know, there's no character at the back here. Shark actually aggressively pushing for Magus' castle here. So he's just going for it. This is, of course, a fine play. Because, you know, the enemies are scaled, he shouldn't have much trouble getting through this. Kill wallas are a scary enemy, but I think he's okay. Pseudo also going for his cathedral. So phone more than likely going to be the first to see what item is in cathedral. I haven't talked much about it, but we got a rainbow shell as well. We can turn that into the castle. You know, get the peek on whatever's in the basement there. Also, one of the basement chests is actually an ultimate weapon spot, I believe. I don't know if it's like a siren or a Valkyrie down there in the vanilla game, but it's something. So we have a guaranteed piece of high-end equipment if we just turn that in and go to the 1000 AD castle. Shark, by the way, he was not using a tracker, so we don't have a tracker for him, but I think we can follow along. We'll just kind of see where he's at and engage his progress from there. As of right now, he's the closest one to 12,000. Looks like the others have kind of resisted the temptation to go early. They're maybe fishing for, you know, a pendant charge to get there through Keeper's Dome, which, you know, puts it on the time gauge or a Tyranno lair. So we got a Terra Mutant here. Because, you know, we're so low scaling, you can just kind of punch it to death. The defenses don't really ramp up until like level 15 to 30 on scaling. Killing a boss increases scaling by 3, objectives by 3, key items by 1, recruits by 1. So, you know, once you start getting like objectives and doing a lot of bosses, like the enemies ramp up pretty quick. Thankfully, they also have pretty high experience rates. Bosses are normalized to give like 4 to 5 levels if you're close to their level. So we see Thomas Pop at back of Cathedral. Pseudo going for the loot, may just dip out. So Thomas Pop, we got Giant's Claw as an objective, as you can see in the middle here. I didn't really go over it in the opening, and I apologize for that. But we got Johnny Race, so if we find a bike key, that's on the table. Beast Cave and Mount Woe are in the same place, so as soon as we get to 12,000, we can do 2 of those. Omen Giga, post-flight, halfway through the Black Omen. Not something most people want to do, but it's entirely possible. So we got Cyrus Grave. We've already got Frog, we've got the Masamune. Because we're using the Boats of Time flag, we can get to the island for that. We just got to go through the ferry. We do need the gate key, however. We know where it's at. We don't have a jerky, so we don't know how to get it yet. The gate key, of course, lets the boat travel back in time to get to the 600 AD island. Little silly until you try it, and then you realize it's kind of interesting. You know, you can kind of skip flight a lot of the time if you're going for stuff like that. Like in this seed, you know, you don't need flight to do Cyrus Grave, you don't need flight to do Giant's Claw. 2 objectives. Also, you can, of course, get the speed tab from behind the grave if you're feeling up to it. Pseudo purchasing a bunch of Saurian leathers from the shop here. That's a Nintendo DS item. It replaces some other high-end piece of equipment on a pretty, I think it's 35% chance in these settings. So I don't know what it replaces, but it does replace something. Gives +3 speed and power, so you know, pretty good for this party. If you were watching in the opening, we saw X-Strike had a 20 Cyclone and a 20 Slurp Cut. So +3 speed and power on a piece of armor is very, very nice, especially having these characters already. Having Ayla on the table as well for 3D attack, that could be very, very good. So Phone's going back into the cathedral. Pseudo did in fact dip out. So he may just, you know, do some checks somewhere else. Shark making his way through Magus's castle. I talk about random stuff so much, I kind of lose track of what people are doing sometimes. Pseudo is in the castle basement. So we're going to see what that ultimate equipment is at the back here. Shark really going for all the chests, all the fights. He really wants to get ahead of the scaling, I think. So we get a speed belt, that's nice, and a prism helm, which is absolutely amazing. Jerky on prism shard there. So if we get a Marl, we can grab that, get a gate key, or do the bridge, either one. Gate key seems pretty attractive this seed. Got a couple of objectives that I can open up. Phone finishing looting, that's how fast that goes. Pretty quick when you don't have to fight or talk to anybody. Carnot also setting up his castle basement. So Phone returning to this market, possibly looking for, maybe this was the Saurian leather market, I don't remember. Pseudo-Arc jumping into Hecarim Cave. Quick check here. Looks like he's not going out to Medina, so he's not worried about like the speed or the magic tab or the free heal. Phone still looking for those Saurian leathers. We see a magic +10 random damage star scythe. Random damage on Magus isn't super big, but magic +10 absolutely is if we happen to find him. Phone selling green dreams, thinking about selling a mega. Really hovering the mega. Selling the mega, so he's going to get 3 Saurian leathers here. He's got a very fast party now. Luca, you know, not the fastest, but having the Saurian leathers, even if you do swap her out, you just put it on somebody else. So, you know, a lot better than like tabs for your money, I'd say. At the Medina shop for 65,000 gold, if I'm not mistaken. And he's been using it to just absolutely one-shot stuff so far. So we see a Magus at the prison break. So that Star Scythe could come into play. Additionally, it may take 5 minutes to break him out, but that also means you save 5 minutes in Magus's castle. So if that ends up being like the route you're forced to go, so be it. However, we see Dreamstone from Hecarim Cave on Pseudo's screen here. So anybody that goes through Hecarim Cave, they're gonna get a nice Ayla. They're gonna have a good 3D attack. Could potentially carry us through the entire game. Tyranno Lair is an objective. We'll get our flight. We may see what's on Dactyl Nest. So looking at it, somebody could go through Tyranno Lair, Mount Woe, get flight that way. With flight, they could do, Giant's Claw. They'd have to, find tools for the Cyrus Grave, maybe do the Omen Giga check, maybe find Bike Key for Johnny Race. We do need 5 objectives for the bucket. So we could even find like a way to end of time, get that jerky for the gate key, or whatever it was. Unlock end of time that way. Possibly find Robo, do factory, go to end of time that way. We have a plan for the first 3 objectives. 4 if you've got the Thomas Pop, which Pseudo does not. Phone and Karnoth do. Ravenous Shark dipping out of Magus's castle, possibly going for some consumables. So he took that kind of aggressive play, but he hasn't been able to see it through yet. So we may see somebody get to 12,000, possibly even before he does. Pseudo checking the hunting range, checking the shops here. Almost certainly, if not going to Dactyl Nest, going to Tyranno Lair very soon. Karnoth fighting Mega Mutant in the Hecarim Cave here. Shouldn't be a big deal. He's one of the more annoying mutants just because of all the status effects, but in terms of actually killing him, he's not bad at all. So we see a speed +2 Silver Rock at the Laruba rock spot here. So we could potentially just have a max speed party here between speed belts, Saurian leathers, the Silver Rock. So we see 15 speed Ayla, max speed Frog, probably max speed Chrono as well. Unless he took the bandana off, I'm not sure. So very fast party. Very, very strong physical party. Pseudo looks like he's gonna go through the forest maze. There's like 10 chests in there. You can do it in like a minute. Potentially very good. Very high density compared to most other locations. Definitely one of the better things to just run through and loot. Got a tech level for Ayla. That's gonna be beautiful. Karnoth gets his Dreamstone. Ravenous Shark went to Cathedral, got his Chrono. We got a free Star Scythe at the Forest Maze, Magic Ring. So even though we've got a highly physical party, if we needed to, got a Dash Ring. We could find a Magus and give him like +16 magic, no big deal. He would love that very much. Phone going through Medina, getting his tabs. So kind of an interesting thing with the Saurian leathers for sale. We can max out speed without using speed tabs, essentially. Especially with this physical party here. So we could very well sell speed tabs. Sorry, sell speed tabs, sell power tabs. You know, get some really good stuff from the shops. So we got phone looking at the Medina shop now. Kind of a weird play. You don't see a lot of people do it. Just because, you know, all the equipment, all the consumables are very expensive, usually 65,000, but you know, if there's like an ultimate piece of gear, like say a Dino Blade with power speed +3 here, you know, it's not going to be any cheaper in any other shop. You might as well, you know, check the Medina shop and see if you can get it. I'm selling the tabs. Getting pretty close. Got to get like 1,000 more gold at this point. That's going to be a big help for him. So now Frog has a power and speed +6 on all his equipment. Going to be very strong, very fast, with a very good weapon as well. Dino Blade, I think, is a replacement to one of his high-end swords, Rune Blade, Brave Sword, Pearl Edge. It may even be different from seed to seed. It does not replace the Masamune 2. It is his second best weapon. Masamune 2, obviously number 1. But still very good. Especially, you know, as strong as his characters already are. You'd love to see it. Carnoth making a hunting range play. Pseudo-Arc making his way through the Tyranno lair. He may very well be the first one to get to 12,000. So what Carnoth is doing here, you can just kind of watch this spot. And as soon as it rains, if the new comes out, you just fight him. Easy. If he doesn't come out, you go up. If you don't see him at the top right, you go all the way left. And you can never miss the new. You will get him 100% of the time. So he's kind of demonstrating it now. It's at the top left. You just go across here, you go through these trees, and there he is. Or not. I may be mistaken. Bought the new once already and I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. He should have been there. He may be farming the new to get the hunting range item, whatever that was. If you do kill the new, you have to exit and enter the area to respawn it. So again, if I was paying attention, I maybe would have seen him fighting it already. But I was not. So Pseudo-Arc on his first Tyranno lair boss. Ravenous Shark is making his way through the Aussie Gauntlet, and Phone has finished his Hecarim Cave, so he's gonna have that Dreamstone. We're all gonna see some Tyranno lair play here in a second. Carnoth, of course, making quick work of this new. It's got 1,234, 1234 HP. It's an unscaled enemy, so even at level 1, it's going to have the same power, give the same rewards. This one cannot kill you. There's some misconceptions about news. You know, with one exception, they all just take your HP to 1, they don't kill you. The exception is, so he gets a sight cap from the new. I may have missed something in my new explanation. Maybe he moved too soon and didn't see one of them. I'm not sure. So sight cap is good. Protects from chaos. Lavos, of course, famously casts obstacle. Puts chaos on your whole party. Pseudo-Arc gets through the Guardian. It's not a bad fight, honestly. Most of the fight is just getting through the bits. Once the bits are down, he just does a countdown and you can dump damage into him. Carnoth going up Dactyl Nest. I think he's the first one to attempt this. I'm pretty sure. We see a Giga Arm for Carnoth here. Pseudo making quick work of this Tyranno lair. It's a very cool dungeon to see if you're proficient at it. You can really just skip literally every fight. So we see a Vigil hat. That was another one of those ultimate gear locations. Just the last chest of any given non-check dungeon. Approximately. You take some liberties sometimes when there's not like a definitive last chest, but Carnoth's got his Dactyl. Did not find a character, I believe. So kind of a waste aside from like the random loot he picked up. Heading into Tyranno Lair. Phone probably headed that way as well. So once again, you need flight, whether that's through Dactyl, through the Epoch, and you need Ayla to get in that skull on the left side. That's not necessarily vanilla. I believe in vanilla, like Kino or one of the other prisoners opens it, but that whole cutscene just is not there. So Ayla it is. She has the power. I'm seeing some Marl tech level, full tonic, pretty decent stuff. We don't have a Marl, but when we get her, if we get her, she'll have that stuff. Whatever tech level she would be at, it'll be that plus however many we picked up of those. I don't know, 3, 4. She's probably gonna have all her techs if we find her. Phone contemplating his gearing. You see an Aeon sword. You see a mop. Really considering the mop. It looked like the mop had power and stamina plus 10, 4 times crit. So arguably, if mop's more than half as strong as any other weapon you plan on auto attacking, the 4 times crit would actually be better. Picking up his Silver Rock, so he's gonna have the full speed party, very high power. Pseudo just absolutely demolishes the Black Tyranno. At a low level like this, it's not a big threat, especially if you do have like good damage. Carnoth is on to his first boss, so looking at it from kind of a progression standpoint, Pseudo is 2 bosses ahead of Phone, 1 boss ahead of Carnoth. Phone makes a mistake here. If you go around that button, you can actually get some other loot without doing a fight. And those are some enemies you really don't want to fight as well. Ravenous Shark, he's officially probably behind. More than likely, these others are going to get to 12,000 a little bit quicker. Just because they're, right up there on the boss, more or less. Not much quicker, mind you. He's just got to do Ozzy and Magus, and he'll be right there with them. But Pseudo, official first 12,000 unlock, going through the gate. More than likely, going straight to Mount Woe. We'll see. Carnoth just making quick work of this Guardian. He's through the bits. He's going to use his drop kick. It's going to hit very hard. So yeah, Pseudo going straight for this. It'll get him his 3rd objective. It's going to get him his last village unlock, his flight. If you look at our objectives here in the middle, you'll see that the bottom left has a blue check mark on Tyranno Lair. That signifies that Pseudo-Arc has completed his first objective. You'll see, top left green check mark once Carnoth gets through here. Top right red check mark, and that's how we're tracking objectives. It's mostly for my purposes. It's very hard for me to remember all this, but it should be pretty intuitive to figure out. They've all got their check marks in their name boxes. So Phone makes it to his Guardian. Still a boss behind Carnoth, 2 bosses behind Pseudo. Maybe soon to be 3 as Pseudo heads for his Beast Cave. Could get through this very quickly depending on what the boss is. So we got a North Gate Magus here. For those that don't know, and it's understandable, if you're coming from the vanilla game and you like recruiting Magus, you might not know how this boss works. So for the first 50% of his HP, which isn't very much. He's a very low HP boss for, you know, the point in the game where you find him. He's just going to do auto attacks. Now, once he drops below 50%, he will counter every attack, usually with a spell like this. So that's kind of your indication that Pseudo is in phase 2. He's got the boss below half. So there's a misconception. People think he attacks really fast. He does not. It's counter attacks. He also does regular attacks, of course, but you know, just know that when he starts feeling like he's attacking fast and he's doing magic, he's halfway dead. So, you know, if you're like Pseudo and you can just two-shot the boss, you're safe. If you got kind of a lower damage party, you might, you know, use a weak character to heal, while your damage dealers, you know, do the most damage per turn, so you can eat like as few counters as possible. Certainly an option. So Phone catching up to Carnoth a little bit. They're on the same boss now. Carnoth is in phase 2. Phone is just starting. Pseudo, he's got 2 objectives now, as you can see. He's going up Mount Woe. He's going to fight some rebels to get his techs online. If he can hit them. It's a perfectly understandable play. You know, when you've got 20 MP, 20 MP, 8 MP, 3D attack, you want to unlock that. So, you know, fighting stuff that gives you like 100 tech points, very good for getting there. We may see it by the time we get up this mountain. Ravenous Shark, in this room, I don't know if he took a wipe or he just took a really long fight. I feel like he's been in here for a minute. Should have been paying attention, but the Tyranno layer race here is kind of occupying all my my brain power right now. So we see Ogans on Mount Woe. I don't think we have any fire, so I was just going to run from that. Is Shark farming these? Are they dropping something good? I need to look at this. Pseudo gets through Black Tyranno. Did I say Pseudo? I meant Carnoth. Carnoth gets through Black Tyranno. He's on to his 12,000. Phone is in phase 2. He should be done with this pretty soon. So for kind of a comparison, Pseudo was doing about 1,500 with his drop kicks on Northgate Magus. Phone's got that really good Dino Blade. Let's see what this does. I can hardly see it. It was more than 1,500, I think. Let me move closer. So 1,900 approximately. So Phone, despite, you know, being a boss behind, doing noticeably more damage. Carnoth gets through his cutscene, so we'll see if he goes straight to Mount Woe as well. It's kind of a slam dunk play. We got officially Phone through the Tyranno layer. That's one objective for all 3 of those players. Soon to be 2, soon to be 3. Pseudo looks like he's done enough farming. He's headed right for the top of Mount Woe. Carnoth right behind him. So now Pseudo is 1 boss ahead of these 2, but pretty soon, probably 2 bosses ahead. He's really making quick work of it. You know, that aggressive search for the Dreamstone paid off. You know, it's got him a pretty good advantage. Kind of like an overall perspective, though. Just because he doesn't have that Thomas pop, he's not necessarily that far ahead of anybody. Just knowing that we're probably gonna end up doing Giant's Claw to unlock Lavos. You know, having access to that is a bit of an advantage. So we see a Golem boss up here. It's free. The only thing is it has a lot of HP, so if you don't have damage, you might as well just let it run. The problem with letting it run, you do get through the fight, but you don't get the levels, you don't get the scaling increases, you don't get the drops. So you really are incentivized to kill it, unless you just really don't feel like you need that thing. Pseudo, of course, is going to have no problem here. He's doing very good damage. Chrono makes his way to Northgate Magus. We're going to do a drop kick check, see what his is doing. So he's pretty much on par with what Pseudo was doing. Phone buying a bunch of full tonics, it looks like. Revive. So he's kind of planning for the long game here. He saw an opportunity to buy some consumables, took it. Pseudo threw the Golem boss. That puts him at 3. So if he wanted to, he'd go straight to Blackbird right now, get his flight, see if somebody's at North Cape even. With this party and having 4 characters already, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you just go straight for the end. You can certainly kill Lavos with a party like this. Karnoth gets through his North Cape. Phone begins it. So we'll see what that Dino Blade's really worth here. See if we can catch up a little bit. So 2 drop kicks. He's going to be in phase 2. 1 more drop kick. The boss is just going to die. So more than likely, Phone not going to have any trouble here. Pseudo going through Zeal. We'll see what he does. Maybe he's shopping, getting tabs. Maybe he's going for the new fight. It's hard to really say. Maybe he wants a rock. So Phone easily crushes Northgate Magus. Karnoth went out. Looks like he did some shopping. He may have forgotten that you needed 3 objectives to unlock that gate. So phone comes out slightly ahead here. But in terms of like progression, I think they're dead even. They've done the same checks. They've got the same characters. Phone spent a little more time exploring. Found that Dino Blade, got some tabs. So, that could put him at an advantage here. We see the rock here for Pseudo. Let's hope it's something good. Got a black rock with shield. Nothing we can really use. If we put Luca in the party, maybe, but realistically, maybe not. I don't really see a reason to use her over this party. So Karnoth and Phone, both going for the tech point farm. Very understandable given the party we've got. Their last techs, 2 of them are 3D attack. Slurp Cut Cyclone, so we really want to get to the bottom of that list as soon as we can. So this could be a little bit of an RNG battle to see who gets to the top, just depending on who misses more. Unlikely to take any other extra fights. There's not really a lot of incentive to do it if you're already doing these. There could be potential drops or something, but I mean, the Rebels are going to give you enough power if you do them. What is Pseudo doing? I think he's trying to get to Last Village. Unfortunately, without flight, that time gauge takes you nowhere. Yeah, he's going to Last Village. So we'll see. We got a shop there. We'll see what's there. We'll see what's at the North Cape. We'll see if he can do Blackbird. More than likely he can. So Phone kind of winning the RNG battle very slightly here. Getting through Rubbles just a little bit sooner. He did start a little bit sooner as well, so arguably kind of even in that respect. I didn't see what the chest was, but Ravenous Shark is now moving on to Magus, so he'll get his 12,000. Definitely taking like a very safe, conservative approach, doing a lot of farming. I'm really getting ahead of the power curve, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So Pseudo going straight to the Blackbird, it looks like. Phone finds a Shiva Edge up here, which I believe had power plus 10 and guaranteed 4 times crits on attack for 20 MP. So if he does an auto attack, he's going to be very happy. It does over 1,000. Very good. Pseudo Arc going through Blackbird. He unequipped his second and third character. The reason you do that, you can get the first character's equipment for free at the top. Pseudo possibly opting out of peeking what the bosses are, maybe feeling confident. Once you get your items back, which is the chest right before the wings, you can just re-equip your second and third character. Also wisely putting Ayla in the second slot so he has 2 characters for that mandatory encounter. She, of course, has fists. She can just punch. We see a Prism Helm pick up on Woe for Carnot there. I assume the other 2 got it as well. So if anybody goes to Mount Woe, they get a Prism Helm. If they go to the castle basement, they also get a Prism Helm. So in terms of Lavos preparation, we're doing pretty good. We'll have our status protection, we'll have magic defense, which really, when you have both of those on one piece, it really enables like some aggressive Lavos pushing at low levels. Magic defense, status protection, and just general damage output. They're going to be kind of your bread and butter for determining if you can even do that. It looked like Phone skipped one of the Rebels. Maybe didn't need it. Maybe just going for this one. Immediate Shiva Edge, 4 times crit for the win here. Chrono learns Cyclone, so we got X Strike, we got 3D attack. Phone is set. He is good to go. Pseudo doing the thing, equipping his second and third character. I'm ready to jump on this wing and just destroy some stuff. Pseudo did not unlock his Slurp Cut Cyclone. I'm not going to have 3D attack here, but maybe he's not that worried about it. Maybe he gets it on the wings. The turrets here, they're kind of like slightly stronger rebels. A little more HP, a little more evasion. They also fight back. But in terms of how you actually fight them, they're the same. Rewards pretty similar. Ravenous Shark gets through his Magus, no problem. He's on to 12,000. We'll see what he does with it. Phone, the second to climb Mount Woe. I'm gonna find that easy Golem boss, which, he farmed 3D attack for this. He might be a little bit disappointed, but it's not gonna take very long. Pseudo definitely farming these turrets. Really wants his 3D attack online. Understandably so. So we're seeing about 3,700 damage for 3D attack on Phone here. It's like a 2-second animation, and we got max speed characters, so it's hard to argue against the damage per second there. It makes a very compelling argument, and Phone's through it. Okay, so very quick boss here. Karnoth he should have 3D attack as well. So we'll get a comparison again. 2700. So something Phone has is making his 3D attack 1000 damage stronger. Quite possibly the Dino Blade. So Phone gonna press the advantage a little bit. He's gonna be okay. I see what's happening here. Chrono's got a 777 weapon on Chrono. That's probably why it didn't hit very hard on 3D attack. However, 777s, that is guaranteed. Any physical damage you do, no matter what the tech is, whether it's an auto attack, enemy defenses, anything, it'll do 777 damage. With Chrono, that's really crazy. You can just use Confuse, and it'll hit 777s 4 times. So, very, very overpowered effect to have on Chrono. Chrono possibly leaning into that. Phone maybe just wants to do 3D attack instead. Might consider that just better damage per second. We can definitely argue that. We'll see what ends up working. We see a gate key for sale at this new shop here. So realistically, we don't even need to get flight this seed. We could take this gate key, do Specchio, take the boats, do Giant's Claw, and that would unlock Lavos right there. Entirely possible. Nobody thought of that, but it is a thing. Karnoth taking 5 seconds to sneeze or something. I don't know. Sees the gate key. Pseudo Arc. He's got a Mud Imp on the Blackbird wings here. If you're wanting to kill this boss fast, you go for the Imp itself. Imp dies, everything else dies just like that. The Imp takes more magic damage than physical. It's got about 80% physical reduction, about 60% magic reduction. So, even on a highly physical party, if you have any decent magic, it might just be better. Karnoth going for North Cape. There's a Marl there. So he could potentially turn in the Jerky and get a gate key, I believe. If he doesn't want to get it at the shop. The Jerky, of course, was in the castle basement, which Marl gives us access to. Pseudo Arc, seeing R series here. As I always say, buff Mud Imp, buff R series. They are stronger in this randomizer, and I love that for this randomizer. They're a little bit more compelling than just getting one shot, and you sometimes have to engage with their mechanics, not always. Phone taking the peak. He's also doing the quick Blackbird strat. Karnoth has Mother Brain. So he really wants this Marl. The quickest way to get through Mother Brain is to just kill the monitors and blast her. She doesn't have a lot of HP, thankfully. And Karnoth's got that 777 weapon, so he's fine. Usually you can survive four rounds from Mother Brain before she actually kills you. So if you have good damage, you can just really blitz her. The healing on the displays is very strong. Pseudo, of course, gets through our series no problem. He's got his flight. We'll see what he does with it. Shark. Maybe thinking about it. Going for the Rubble. Pseudo goes straight to Protodome, possibly looking for a character. Maybe... So we get a Robo. He can do Factory, unlock end of time that way. I'm not sure if he saw the gate key for sale. He may have just skipped that shop entirely. But he can do Factory, get to end of time, do Specchio. That would put him at 4. He'd have end of time access. He would just need one more objective to do the bucket. We also see Ruminators here. Interesting thing about these is you can charm them for Mega Elixirs. It is vanilla charms, so if you know the charm pools, very good. Of course, you know, having 1 mega elixir is a huge help. Having like 2 or 3 is a massive help. Having like more than 3, you can just trash Lavos. You know, anytime you're thinking about healing, recovering MP, anything at all, just throw the mega and you've got a full refresh. So Phone on his Mud Imp, he equipped that 777 slasher after seeing the Mud Imp. So more than likely, I'm gonna one-shot this boss, really demonstrating the fact that, you know, yes, it goes through defenses. It always does 777s. Confused those 4 777s. Boss is dead. It's over. So Pseudo's got that Robo. You know, two sources of gate key to lead to end of time. Both the last village shop and the castle basement, but he didn't check the North Cape, and I'm not sure if he saw the shop either. But taking the route he knows, we see a sentry here, which is a really bad enemy to fight. They've got high defenses, they do counters, they hit pretty hard. They steal all your MPs sometimes when they die. It's not a pretty sight. Phone, unfortunately, probably shouldn't do 777s on this R series, so he's spamming Lightning 2. Water 2. So if they all go down together, they'll never counterattack you. So AoE is a perfectly valid strategy if you have it. They do hit very hard, so you really want to avoid the counters. If you don't have AoE, Phone gets through it. He's got his flight now. If you don't have AoE, you can just kind of what do you call it? Kill one at a time, or get them all like within 1-shot range and kill them off one by one that way. If you're feeling crazy, you can just eat counters and maybe kill them faster, but it's such an easy way to wipe. Most people don't go for that, not intentionally anyway. Those that, you know, are used to just one-shotting them maybe don't know the mechanics. I've seen a lot of people get killed by them. They're a scary boss. In solo, even like at the start of a run, when they do 6 punches on one character, it could just kill them outright. So Pseudo going through the factory. Phone grabs the speed tab. He's going to go for Giant's Claw. That's going to put him at 4 objectives. He does have end of time access because he bought the gate key at the shop. So he could potentially do Specchio and just close this run out. Karnoth, kind of in the same boat. He hasn't bought the gate key, but that option is available to him. If he does go that route, of course, Phone is a little bit ahead, about 2 bosses. But not using the 777 weapon. Karnoth playing a little bit more safe. He did do the same strategy for the the fast Blackbird, but he did a safety save just in case. So Phone headed for his Giant's Claw. If he can get through this, he's well on his way to finishing. Shark making his way up Mount Woe, so he'll I believe have 2 objectives. So, you know, playing a little bit safer, a little more conservative. He's probably not going to struggle in the combat whatsoever, but you know, it's definitely not the fastest way to get through a seed. If you can be really aggressive, it'll usually work out. You just kind of got to know your limits. I don't. I die all the time doing aggressive stuff, but you know, that's kind of the fun. You know, really figuring out, like, you know, what you can push and what you can't. Figuring out like what goofy strategies work and what don't, kind of thing. So we'll see how Karnoth handles our series here. Looks like he's maybe not wanting to spam AoE. Possibly taking the kill them off one by one approach. Perfectly valid. As long as they don't survive the attack, they're not going to counter. We see a gold rock with shield on it at Giant's Claw here. So, as far as like rocks that are still on the table, I don't think we've done Denadoro. I don't think we've seen Black Omen. I'm sure we haven't seen the Black Omen one yet, but we've seen the other 3, and aside from, you know, speed and shield being useful, not really making a strong case for changing our party. Chrono down to his last R series. I'm just gonna 777 it to death, dropkick it to death from the looks of things. So we saw that punch did 75 damage. So it's, you know, when you get 6 of those in a row, that is quite scary. Thankfully didn't. Phone making his way through Giant's Claw. I'm gonna pick up a lot of power tabs. Skipping these rebels because he's got his techs already. But you know, that is a source of rebels if you're feeling the need to get tech points for any reason. Pseudo kind of experiencing a bit of a struggle fight. Sentries, like I said, are very scary. Imps and, you know, roly-polies and similar enemies, they're actually relatively strong for their level, so you got to take them seriously sometimes. Like they may not kill you, but it may take you a little bit longer to kill them than you might think. Chrono going for his Giant's Claw, so about 1 boss behind Phone. Phone finds a spawn here, and it's Elder Spawn. Once again, vanilla charms, if you know them. It's going to be very helpful. Phone gets a charm off on the face here, and he'll get a haste helm. Looks like he missed, though. So we're going to try it again. If you miss, just do it another time. Or 4. So he's got that haste helm now. Who he's going to put it on, unclear, but definitely making a strong case for just going straight to Lavos with this. You know, he's getting close on the levels. You know, he's got some pretty good gear. Could absolutely make it happen. Got very strong, very fast. You know, 3D attacks with max speed. You love to see it. Hits the shell. Might regret that. Pseudo's about to see what's at the factory here. So we got a dragon tank for Pseudo. I always say it. I'm always saying this. Buff R series, buff Mud Imp, buff dragon tank. Once again, you know, those are 3 bosses that, you know, maybe you don't actually fight a lot of the time. You know, if you know me, you know I really want, like, bosses to be engaging. You know, you want to have to deal with their mechanics sometimes. So I'm also pretty happy with Dragon Tank here. The head's got a lot of HP. You gotta take that out first. Usually it heals pretty significantly. It also takes extra damage from physical, so, you know, with this party, not a problem. The wheel is a threat. It can do a lot of damage to your party. And once the wheel goes down, if you attack the body, it counters with a laser. So, you know, there's different ways to kind of approach this boss, which I think is interesting. You know, do you save the wheel for last so you don't get lasered? Do you take the wheel out first so you don't get the AoE damage? Do you ignore everything and go for the head to stop the healing first? Phone gets through his spawn. He's got 4 objectives now. He's got a bent sword. He might not do anything with it. Ravenous Shark at the top of Mount Low now. Pseudo looks like he'll be the first one into End of Time, with Phone like 5 seconds behind. Chrono making his way downtown, walking fast. Picks up the gold rock. He's he hasn't picked up the gate key, unfortunately. Otherwise, he'd be, you know, within a couple minutes of where Phone is at. Maybe ahead of Pseudo just because, like, he has a path to 5 objectives for the bucket. Shark fighting his golem boss. He's got the 777's weapon as well. So gonna do some work there. It shouldn't take very long for him to get through it. So phone making it to end of time around the same time Pseudo does. Gets a Kali Blade. Absolutely not worth it. Considering, you know, swapping some gear around, Specchio's a very scary fight. You need, you know, magic defense and magic damage in all the right places. You know, status protection for his opening attack. You don't want to get confused. In this form, he also has 50% magic resistance, 10,000 HP, so effectively like doing 20,000 on a normal boss with magic damage. You really want to find a way to do a lot of that. So opening attack very nearly kills Ayla. I'm gonna want to do some healing. Pseudo takes the wipe to Specchio. I think he's a little bit lower level. Anytime you fight Specchio, you want to be on like, you know, level 9, 19, 29, 39, 49. Just because he is tuned so high, he's actually unscaled in this randomizer. So, you know, going in and fighting this form, it unlocks at level 40. But if you're level 40, you're probably not going to kill it. So one interesting thing with this boss is physical attacks miss, but dual attacks cannot miss. He does still like resist physical damage, but if you've got like a, you know, a combination physical magical dual tech with a good magic multiplier on it, like Spire, Spire will double the damage of lightning too. So rather than doing 1,000 damage, the boss is doing 2,000. So if Phone can keep spiring without dying, he's got the hasted Ayla to keep people alive. You know, 5 attacks, he should have this licked. Pseudo going for the Sun Palace, looking for some levels. Possibly looking for an item to kind of enable his 5th objective. Carnoth gets through Giant's Claw, so you know he's one Specchio and one gate key shy of being where Phone is at. Contemplating his next move, possibly going to go back for the gate key. Looking increasingly likely. We'll see where he goes. He might do like Reptite Lair. That's the only thing in 65 million I can think of right now. They've done Tyranno Lair. He's done Dactyl Nest and all that. So yeah, Reptite Lair for Carnoth. Gonna get some levels. Maybe look for an item for a 5th objective that's not Specchio. You know, who's kind of on par with, you know, the hardest bosses in the game. Requires like a lot of planning, a lot of consumables most of the time. Unless you've just got like ridiculous magic damage. Phone gets instant killed on Frog. We're gonna have to get him back up to get through this. I'm throwing out a revive, probably like a full tonic or more. Yeah, full tonic. So we got Yakra 13 at the Sun Palace for Pseudo. He doesn't start doing his needle spin stuff until he's halfway dead. So once he starts saying like heard about it from the ancestors, that's how you know you've done half his HP. So if you're, you know, super worried about the needles, which do hit very hard, you can kind of like hold off on using like all your strongest attacks if you're trying to conserve MP until he starts saying that, and then just blast him. We see a Giga guy at Reptite Lair. Carnoth probably not going to struggle too much with it because he is pretty close to level 50. And at level 50, you don't take very much magic damage whatsoever. Sorry, I can't talk. The way magic defense works essentially is, you know, if you have 90 magic defense, you resist about 90% of magic damage. If you have 99, you have like 99% resistance. So, you know, as your magic defense gets higher, each point actually becomes more powerful. To a ridiculous degree. Like once you get above like 80, you know, into the 90s, very little can actually kill you, magic-wise. Physical defense is kind of similar, but it goes from 0 to like 255 instead of 99. So it's a little bit harder to max out. But that's kind of like a good way to get through Lavos. You know, if all else fails, you get some levels, throw some magic defense on, and you're probably going to be okay. Phone, of course, got through Specchio. He's got the unlock. He's going for Lavos now. So we're gonna mostly see where he's at, see if another runner can catch up to him. I am a little pressed for time recording this, and I don't know when I'll have a chance to do more recording. So I'm probably just gonna cut off the commentary once the race is over, and let, I don't know, somebody else take over with, you know, whatever they're saying in their run. Hopefully it's nothing problematic. I didn't audit it, and if somebody says something that you don't like, I'm sorry. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm putting my trust in these people. They haven't let me down yet. So we don't have full status protect. Ayla's got the haste helm on, so we want to keep her unconfused. First form Lavos, it's all vanilla, so he's got 10,000 HP. Not a big threat. You know, if you're strong enough to do forms 2 and 3, form 1 will be trivial. There is a quirky thing you can do where if you haven't gotten end of time access yet, and you find your way to Lavos, like say through Black Omen, you can actually kill the shell, take this gate, and it'll give you end of time access. It's a weird play. It's only, you know, been something somebody did like once or twice, but it is on the table. So Phone onto his Lavos 2. Pseudo found the Thomas Pop. I think he got it from a shop. He didn't actually do Cathedral. We do have key items in shops in all of these seeds so far. It's a thing you can turn off, but I find it interesting enough to keep. The thing with key items in shops is they're duplicates. They're not in logic. So anything you find in a shop is actually in a check somewhere. So it's kind of a gamble getting it. You might pick up a key item for unlocking a certain check, then you do like one more check, and then you get a second copy of that key item, and you know that's kind of the price you pay, you know, for trying to, I guess, sequence break, you could say. It's a risk. It costs 65,000 gold to gamble on it. Phone opting not to heal, going straight for the 3D attack. He's definitely going to want to heal now. He does have like good physical defense having this party. Frog's got a shield. Ayla and Chrono are, you know, pretty good defense wise, so the boomerangs are probably not going to kill. Not quickly anyway. If he can get through this phase before the lasers go out again, he'll be looking pretty good. Throws a full tonic on Chrono just to keep him out of one-shot range. 3D attacking the left arm. He's doing over 4,000. So both of these arms are within one 3D attack of being killed. Wisely using Ayla as the alchemist, and she gets 2 turns with the haste helm. So the left arm has 8,000, the right arm has 12,000. If you can kill them both at the same time, or close to it, you won't lose your status protection. Phone's got a single mega, and he's just using it to get his MP back. Not the wisest play, but it's going to get him through this phase a little bit quicker. It's going to preserve his status protection, and maybe that's enough. He does have full tonics, he does have Slurp Kiss. He does have a lot of damage, so may not actually need the Mega Elixir. Additionally, when you kill Specchio's Masamune form, he gives you 10 elixirs. So, you know, worst case scenario, he's going to throw a lot of those. Obstacle goes out. Heal instantly queued up for Ayla to get the confuse off. Obstacle and the poison attack hit pretty hard. because it's vanilla. Taking about 200-300 damage on this party. If it was a high magic defense party, you'd do a little bit less. Karnoth going for his Specchio. We'll see if he gets through it. Pseudo, he's going to have to do this plus Specchio to get to Lavos. So a little bit behind there. Just not having the Thomas Pop was ultimately his undoing. Of course, Lavos can always go crazy. He could wipe a party. He could choose to do, certain things that are just really hard to deal with. So definitely not over yet. Don't count him out. Phone throwing out the Slurp Cut, or the Slurp Kiss. Should be getting through this boss pretty quick here. Shadow Doomblaze goes out. The boss has 10.9 thousand left. So 3 3D attacks, he'll get through it. With his speed and power, he can absolutely just kill the boss before it starts attacking again. After Shadow Doomblaze, you get like a little bit of recovery time. And he's just going to use that to kill the boss, it looks like. Low HP, low MP, probably going for the menu glitch. I'm feeling confident. Or perhaps just worried about his time, so he's really doing what he can to save time. Karnoth spamming Spire. Ayla goes down. Pseudo Arc, he's one Specchio away from unlock. These runners could have gone through Black Omen once they got their flight. It was an option on the table. Looks like nobody took the bait on that. Ravenous Shark going through the prison to get his Magus. Maybe feeling a different party. Maybe just wants to see what's in here. So Phone moving on to phase 3. We'll see if he gets the menu glitch. Karnoth still working his way through the Specchio. Pseudo Arc going through Denadoro. It's an interesting choice. I'm not sure what he's looking for. Maybe turning in the bent sword, seeing if he can get like a bike key or something. Which would, get him his 5th objective without having to fight Specchio, who, as we've seen from Pseudo's attempt, Phone's attempt, Karnoth's attempt, is in some ways a little bit scarier than Lavos even, just depending on what your party looks like when you fight him. Definitely up there, kind of in the pantheon of difficult bosses, especially, this form. The Pink New is also up there, but realistically, you're not going to see it in this randomizer. You got to be pretty high level for it. So if he can get something to get him his 5th objective, he might be able to get to Lavos, kind of around the time Karnoth does. Karnoth is, I think, 1 Spire away from winning. Phone going for the left bit. I'm just dumping damage into the right bit now. So what's Pseudo gonna do here? Karnoth gets through Specchio, so he's gonna be moving on to Lavos. Maybe after a little bit of prep. We see a C trigger. Not enough cash. Still on the hunt for a Specchio skip. It is my assessment. I could just be wrong. That's kind of what it looks like, though. Which, if it works out, would be a big boon. Phone, once again, dropping that left bit. Just kind of leaving the middle one up. Just kind of dealing with whatever it throws out. Having those 10 elixirs from Specchio, he's got a lot of wiggle room to get through this. Crying Heavens goes out, one-shots Chrono. revive, elixir, back in business. So going back to dumping some damage here. Ayla, very close to going down. Probably gonna elixir herself. She's still hasted, so she still has that flexibility to be an alchemist and a damage dealer at the same time, which has been working out really well. Karnoth starting the shell now. If Phone does end up wiping, you know, Karnoth could be back in this. You know, they'd both be about in the same place. Pseudo headed to end of time, moving his gear around, probably gonna go for the Specchio. I haven't commented a lot on Ravenous Shark lately, and I apologize for that. You know, just because the other three, you know, have been kind of approaching the end game. It's kind of hard to take eyes off of them. He's doing his own thing. Like I said, he likes to go for alternative wins. Dream Devourer is a big one. Hard Lavos as well. So maybe getting that Magus. Maybe he's going for Hard Lavos. Maybe, you know, maybe he's thinking of building a Dream Devourer party. I cannot say. But back to the action. Karnoth makes his way to phase 2. Pseudo on his Specchio fight survives the initial attack, which is good. Throwing out the Spire. Okay, so he's got the Shroud figured out too. I think okay, Phone kills Lavos while I wasn't looking. 117.03. He's gonna be our winner today. So I'm gonna just let the runner's audio kind of take over from here. So seed of the week number 3, ctrando.com. Done and dusted. We're on week 4 now. Got some interesting flags. Got some updates. Doing dungeon shuffle, so dungeon entrances are shuffled amongst themselves. You don't know what's where. Additionally, Chrono's house is shuffled, so he could end up, you know, living in any time period. Yeah, we'll see what the implications of that are when we run it. The seed is open right now. If you want to play, ctrando.com. It's got a link to the Discord. We'd be happy to have you join us. You know, we like seeing people play. We like teaching them. We like the competition. Hope to see you there. So we're gonna leave it as far as commentary goes there. Pseudoark is gonna play his music until it's over. We're gonna switch to Ravenous Shark. You know, see how his thought process is developing through this. And you know, let's see how his seed ends. He may have a surprise in store. He may go for a super boss. You know, anything is on the table with this guy. He does like interesting plays. But thanks for stopping by. I'll see you later. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you like it. If you don't, what are you doing here? This video's been running for like 80 minutes. You're still here. But anyway, yeah, I'm out of here.
Another quick Go figure. Alright, let's go to prehistory, I guess. Or actually, hold on. I forgot to check this key item. I might feel like a dummy if that's where it is. What you got for me, chef? Well, that's ready for whenever I find the ruby. What's the top one first? I always mix them up. Nobody cares about your road shields. I don't like it, but I'm one key idol away from go. Racing the skins, that's good though. Not that it matters with Chrono rocking 3 mil. Chrono rocking 3,000 per compute. Not having you hit me with. What's Lucas' dad got for me? What you got for me? Is this gonna unlock tomorrow? Maybe. Which unlocks the King's Trial. If that's the case, it's gonna make it feel like a platinum. Oh, just the chance. give you the amulets. Like it. Okay, so I can't do that until tomorrow. I hate this. I hate their sprites there. Oh, what am I worried about? Alright, the next key item is going to be the history. That was a waste of time. Yeah. Let's see. All that does is unlock a Betty portal, and it really doesn't do me a whole lot of good, but then I guess might get me Marl. Not a fan. Rude. this way. I hate these battles. I'll skip them. Okay. Finally get a good weapon for him. Why? Wow. How about that? Now. Back on that. Yeah. Hmm. So phone. If I go beat Dream Devourer right now, does that mean I beat the seed? Okay. I mean, I've killed it before. It just doesn't go to end credits, so I always just kept playing. Did I save? Alright. Yeah, if I could find the ruby knife, I'd be done by now.